You know, when we were in Egypt, we were sinking lower, lower, lower. Like, take civilization, right? Some of us are so, without saying anything better, so forgoyish. We're so for westernized, so much Americanized. I remember, like, one of the first Yom Ha'atzmaut was a big celebration, and they invited this very, very outstanding Jewish leader, UJA. It was the biggest joke in the world. First of all, he never mentioned the word Jewish. He says, I'm standing for you as an American. As an American. I eat. The mom's breaking him down from the stage, and then he says again, I as American salute Israel for being independent. People said, Yanni, we didn't invite you as an American, why did you as a Jew? And if you cannot open your mouth as a Jew, get off the stage. I mean, not the old folks. Old folks would have been hanging their tongue out, but there were some Bnei Akiva kids, you know. They started yelling, you know, boo, get off, you know. Listen to me, the Gemara says, Zerkush says that 1 second before we went out of Egypt, we would have stayed there one more day, it would have been lost forever. And again, not lost forever on the outside. Inside, it was just nothing left in it. So God took us out in the last second. What's the whole story of crossing the Red Sea? Crossing the Red Sea is that it was Mamish coming to an end. Pharaoh is coming. They have no weapons. Maybe have a few cute little weapons, but not to fight Pharaoh with his army. But when did the crossing of the sea begin? In the very last second. That means if the sea would have split open 1 second later, we would have been so close to Pharaoh that he can keep us from afar. Hey, you hear, friends? What happened? What is the whole thing? In the last moment, God always helps. The last moment. For the deepest depths, it's not only God helps at the last moment. God does not help until you mamish need it. You know, if I wait for something and God didn't help me yet, you have to be focused on God. It wasn't time yet, right? Well, who knows the time better than God? God knows exactly. Because what's Haman all about? What's Amalek all about? Amalek comes to tell you it won't last. You see what it is? What is happening now in Israel? Gewalt, Amalek is going strong, right? Amalek wants to tell us, face it, Israel is not yours forever. A few little pieces of luck, but it really doesn't belong to you. Amalek wants mamish, the worst. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of the biggest tests in history. 2 behemoths selling Israel. 2 behemoths. And you see what it is. If I would mamish know from now on, no Jew will be killed. Once they give them COVID, it's my land, but they give you COVID, I can have a guest for Shabbos, right? But it's not to be believed, right? Their tongue is hanging out, and they are not giving it to them, it's my land, but I'm doing you a favor and let you live there. Like, they are bargaining back what belongs to us. Not to be believed, right? But forget about politics. You know, Eretz Yisrael is the 50th gate. Eretz Yisrael is the 50th gate. You know what? The Torah Moshe Rabbeinu gave us is only 49 gates. Awesome. The Mashiach is coming, he'll reveal to us the 50th gate of the Torah. Eretz Yisrael is the 50th gate. You know what Eretz Yisrael is? Eretz Yisrael has the power to make a Jew forever. I mean, take today, you know, I think we shared it. There are so many books written in Israel. Who began this whole Tshuva movement? But you know, there's a Torah from Rav Kook. You know, who began the Tshuva movement? Eretz Yisrael. You know when the Tshuva movement began? Mamish, after the Six-Day War. Facts of life. 1967, when they came back to the Holy Wall, Yerushalayim, the Shuvah Shem Shiva Siyam, right? I mean, facts of life. About, see, when one Yiddish says, I did it, I don't want to say anything bad, that's a whole book written in Hebrew, and he interviewed those people who did it. I don't want to say anything bad, I can show you everyone, you know their names. Come in. Not only they didn't do it, they didn't even know what's going on. One of them I met on the plane, but I was going with Zalman David Zeller to India in 1983. Do you remember? Baba Muktananda had this big conference. Remember, Charlotte? Mindela went also, by the way. It was a gewalt. So I meet this top who claims that he operated the Tshuva movement. I said to him, I'm going to India. He says, why are you going to India? I say, there's a big conference. And there'll be thousands of Jewish kids. He says, thousands of Jewish kids in India? What are they doing there? You know? I mean, you can imagine how much he knew about the Tshuva movement in 1983. That he has no. My Muslim Sham, he says, my Muslim Sham. What is the deepest redemption? What is the deepest redemption we all need? What is it to be an assimilated Jew, or what is it, mamash, not to be an assimilated Jew? An assimilated Jew is somebody who is afraid of the world. I'm afraid to have a yarmulke on the street. I'm afraid to keep Shabbos. I'm afraid to say I'm a Jew, right? You know, I don't want to say anything bad. He's a big shot. They asked him, are you Jewish? He says, I'm of Hebrew heritage, right? He's afraid to utter the word Jew, right? Hebrew heritage. What's going on there, right? You ashamed to say you're Jew? The deepest depth is, you know, on Yetzias Mitzrayim, we got out of Egypt, from the slavery of Egypt, but we were still afraid of it. You know, you know what it is? What did the Germans do to the Yidden? Not only they killed them, they put so much fear on them. Awesome, right? You know, today some people think, why didn't they go against the Nazis? You want to know something? I was a little boy then. When you saw a Nazi walking down the street, you froze. You froze. Imagine if I'm very strong and I have a knife and I can fight a lion. You know why I can't fight a lion? Because when I see a lion coming, I'm freezing. I'm paralyzed. Paralyzed. What's Esav doing to us? He wants us to be afraid of the world. Exile. What's a slave? Afraid of his master. What is real? And you see what it is? When we came out of Egypt, we came out of slavery, we didn't have to work for them anymore. But we were still afraid of them. And what happened to us when we crossed the Red Sea? We realized they're non-existent. They are non-existent. Not afraid. You know what's so heartbreaking? In Israel, the army is on the level of not exile, not afraid of anything. The government is deep in exile. Mamish, in ganzen Meshik of Torah, they're afraid of every behemoth, anybody who says something, they're already afraid. You know, they're sadly enough, right? There's one Jew in Israel who's not afraid of anybody. There's Ariel Sharon. He's a good son, right? Ariel Sharon. You know, a few years ago he was running for Prime Minister, and I had the privilege, I tried my best to make propaganda for him. You know, in those days, anybody who made propaganda, they spent thousands of dollars on propaganda, so they made it. Ariel Sharon says, I refuse to take money which we need to help the poor to waste on but becoming president. You know what he did? He had an office, and there was a table and one chair where he sat on. And just one more broken chair for visitors. And you know what he was serving? Water. When you walk in to the other, go to Meir and other one, they had mamish feasts and bacon and lox and cake, and people would just go there and eat and then go shamir and eat, all the poor people that 3 meals a day during the elections, right? To Sharon nobody went because he was only giving water. But what they eat. I wish Israel would have enough guts, if all of them would stand on their feet and say, we got to make sure on our president, the whole thing would stop in 2 minutes. Sharon, when the Intifada began, Sharon says, what's going on there? I'll stop it in 5 minutes. And he said, I'm not killing anybody. Anybody who throws stones, we take the family, send it back to them. You don't like it, you go somewhere else. That's all. If you would have taken all of them who throw stones, them and the whole family, together the cousins and the bobbers, get out of here, you don't like it. And stupidly, the government, it's heartbreaking. Anyway, I want you to know that next Shabbos is mamish when we have to get out of fear. And I want you to know something awesome. The Gemara says there was never a storm on the ocean like that night when we crossed the Red Sea. It was the biggest storm ever in the history of the world. Can you imagine Nachshon ben Aminadav, the first Jew walking into the ocean? We always think the people on the surface of jumping down and that they have no fear. Nachshon ben Aminadav. At that moment there was a voice in heaven, God says, Nachshon, one of your children will be the Messiah. He was not afraid of anything. Take David HaMelech, was 9 years old and he fought Goliath. Goliath was not just a little bit bigger than him, like a Superman. Goliath was mamish. There was nobody could fight him. David HaMelech was 9 years old, maximum. And even before that, when he goes to Shaul says, you want to fight Goliath? He's 9 years old. He says, I fought a lion. You see, David HaMelech is the best shepherd we ever had. Because why did he fight the lion? To protect his sheep. See, David HaMelech is protecting Yidden like nobody in the world. David HaMelech is. So anyway, when we crossed the Red Sea, the first time we had a little taste of what Mashiach is all about. What Mashiach is all about, and this is also something very deep. First of all, I'm not afraid of the world. I'm not afraid of the ocean. I'm not even afraid of my own shortcomings. This is the deepest depth. You know what puts the biggest fear on us? My yesterday failures. The Holy Baal Shem Tov says the greatest slave driver in the world is our own yesterdays. My own yesterdays. Mamish paralyzing us. I failed so often, I'll fail again. Every Yom Kippur, we already like half paralyzed. Amalek comes and says, you promised God last Yom Kippur, you didn't keep it. So what do you think? Don't even go to shul. Right. So, David HaMelech, do you know how David HaMelech conquered Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim was so strong, the Yevusi was living there, you just can't conquer it, that's all. Because it's on the mountain, they're standing up there and they're sending down all the weapons and you can't conquer it. David HaMelech conquered it all by himself. Yerushalayim is the personal possession of David HaMelech. Heilig Yidel. Heilig Yidel.
Wow.
You want to say a fast Torah on Kriyas Yamsuf?
What?
You want to say a fast Torah on Kriyas Yamsuf or Yetzias Mitzrayim? because we have 5 more minutes to learn.
Big guest. Oh, hi.
Heilig Sie, Reb Shlomo.
Welcome. Yes, Samson.
No,
Is it in connection
I'm sorry,
to the
what?
Chosn
One second, what?
why don't you finish what you're saying? You're in the middle of it.
No, let me finish the sentence. I was so happy to see you. Beautiful. David HaMelech, why is Yerushalayim the city of God? Yerushalayim gives us the strength not to be afraid of anybody. And you see, today we see, they want so much us to be afraid of them, they want to take a little piece of Yerushalayim away from us. They don't want us not to be afraid of them. Not to be afraid. You know the old joke that during the Six-Day War, 2,000 Egyptian soldiers are running like crazy, and the officer says, "What happened?" And they said, "We saw one Israeli soldier." So he says, "You mean you're running from one soldier?" He says, "No, to be exact, it was even 2." You see what it is? The bracha is when God says, "I'll take away your fear from them and put it on them." You know what's the promise? The problem today is, sadly not. They're not afraid to do anything they want to. Because the world doesn't react. If the world would react, the world would be different. And the sad thing is that the government of Israel is also afraid. So what we have to do this Shabbos Mamash at Yad Hashem, Mamash, we have to tear out fear from our heart. And I just want to tell you, look, go to Heilig Reb Yudel because it's from Hungary, and the Rebbe of all of Hungary is Sam Sofer. Sam Sofer says, "I'm not afraid of God, but I am afraid of somebody who's not afraid of God." No, I'm not afraid of God. I've said it over for God, but I am afraid of someone who doesn't fear God. Okay, let me do that later.
Okay. It's interessant, Yerushalayim, I just came on my mind. It's really Torah Eretz Yisrael. I think it's Torah Eretz Yisrael, and I think it's moiradig. Ich meine, der Novi sagt doch, Bo'eish hitzato, u'ba'eish hato osid livnoiso. Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim, direct, we're talking about Yerushalayim, was destroyed by fire, and it's going to be rebuilt by fire. Can you rebuild something with fire? And I think it's Mamish Torah Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe Melech says, what's really the difference between a mensch and an animal? Imoisa ha'odom min ha'beima oyin. Oyin, zog the Rebbe Melech, whatever a person is doing, it's really affecting. It's affecting the person. If a person is doing something, ahavas Hashem, there is an ahava, there is a love on this person. With yiras Hashem, it's affecting the person. He becomes part of. People are afraid of him. It's affecting the person. It's reflecting on the person. Let's call it that way. It does reflect. Zug the Heilige Rebbe Melech Moisar Odom and Abeima Oyen. Oyen is really the initials of ahava, yira, neshama. This is really the difference from a person to an animal. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Really, the person is the much ahava he has in yira, in the neshama. This is really the person, nothing more, nothing else than this. But this is not enough. Yerushalayim, the combination of Yerushalayim is Yira and Sholem. Also ich sage doch die Gemara. Loi ka Avram shekorei har, loi ki Yitzchak shekorei soda. This is Yira mit Sholem. How can it be Shleimus? Shleimus, there is no other way but one way. Ahavas Hashem. Ahavas Hashem and Ahavas Yisrael. What is this? Zog the Choyves al-Vavas, Chazal sagen doch, Eina Shchine, das ist doch der Neviim, Eina Shchine Shoyre, Eile Mitoich Simcha. The presence of God, there is no other way but from Simcha, from happiness. We say in the Torah, when the Torah said we're going to be so punished, even though they're going to do all the mitzvahs, but tachas ashaloi avadetas Hashem elokechem with simcha. If you don't do the mitzvahs, even if you do it, but you don't do it with simcha, it's almost nothing. Why? The whole idea is when you do something with love, with simcha, this is really, can you imagine if someone comes and tells his wife, whatever, oh, I hate you, whatever, but I have to give you a kiss, I have to love you, I'm forced to. What was Segunish Megonish, right? If you don't do that with simcha, Segunish Megonish. Ahavas Hashem cannot be only mitoich simcha. Simcha mit ahava, zung des Forum, the Choyves Halvovis talks about it, is the same thing. Paralyzed, they all bring it. Simcha mit ahava is exact the same thing, and this is the only thing God wants from us. Simcha, ahavas Hashem. Eish is only the letters of ahava and simcha. Ahava and simcha, this is the word of fire. If you do something, you love someone, you'll go on fire for him. Why? Because you really, ahava mekalkeles ashira. You're really beyond nature. You do anything, no calculations, no cheshbonos. You love someone, you'll go on fire for him all the way. This is ahava, and this is really simcha. Okay. Eretz Yisrael, sagt doch die Gemara, Yerushalayim, especially Yerushalayim, is Teil Talpiyos. This is the center of the world, and we can see it, and we saw it in the past, and we saw it now 2,000 years in generations. Yerushalayim is the one thing which unites Klal Yisrael. This is the one thing which is Aleph 2, which is Achdus. Yerushalayim is one thing which unites Klal Yisrael. Never to give back, not to give back, whatever. We know one thing. They're not going to stop. They want Jerusalem and Tel Aviv too. But it's no questioning. We know it already. If you see Nebuch Yecheskel, the Moiredike, the Haftorah, we say in Sukkot, what's going to happen around Jerusalem, we know the answer. We know what's going to happen. This is really going to bring, this is going to be final, and this is going to bring back all the Jews together to reunite against whatever's going to happen, because we know that. The bottom line is going to be war. Because we're talking about animals, they're never going to give up. Arafat says this, and they all say it, and we don't have, they should say it. We believe them without it. They do it by ma'asim. They're ready to kill us. They want back everything. It's only a question how to maneuver, how to get it in the best way. But they want everything. Because the number one, the first priority is to see the Yidden out of Israel. That's the priority. Not to have Jerusalem or not to have it. They didn't have it never, and they never had it. It's only a question to have the Yidden out. In, we know one thing, with the hava which we have to Hashem, into Eretz Yisrael and to Yerushalayim, this is the fire we're talking about. This is going to bring back Yidden to Hashem, and to reunite, to have Achdus, and I'm sure we're going to have it very, very soon. It's only a matter, very soon, no question about it. It's only questioning, like they put it in the New York Times, the 3 stages. First, they want Achveisishvus, but once they're going to have it, which is a matter of a few years, we know what they're going to do. We know that. No, the Reb Shlomo should help us. That we're saying it all the time. Oid Yeshama ba'ore Yehuda u'vachutzos Yerushalayim. Koil sosain v'koil simcha. We all, in every simcha, we know what we're begging for and what we're asking for is b'chutzos Yerushalayim, ba'ore Yehuda. Not enough b'chutzos Yerushalayim, ba'ore Yehuda, which is Yehuda and Shomron. They want to give it back, whatever. But we know this is going to be the point, and we're asking for it should be very, very soon that the simcha, a simcha we call it. That's why we call it bas simcha. And very interesting that they bring with these words. Ish pocket al kol besoyres toivos. Eliyahu Hanavi, he's really the master of besoyres toivos, to bring good news, to bring good besoyres. This is the job of Eliyahu Hanavi. He's the master of it. In the bring achosnei kale abal simcha is nislabish boy Eliyahu Hanavi. Mamash Eliyahu Hanavi is in his presence. It's just like he's revealing himself in a chosn and kala. No, Reb should help him. That should be the job. Eliyahu Novi is going to come in Mavasa Zayin B'Soyres, and we should have simchas, and we should have a beautiful future and a beautiful nachas, and hopefully very soon, the sooner the better, without stomach ache. We should have back Israel and the Arabs, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Amen, amen, amen.
Shalom.
So I love what you said. I love what you said.
Yeah.
I question the idea of being a war.
Okay, why it doesn't have to happen? Okay, it doesn't have. I want to tell you something. People are extremely sensitive when you mention us is supposed to be war or whatever, right? But we're forgetting one thing. In our prayers, and we cannot dissolve that. We cannot. Every Shabbos, in every Monday and Thursday, we say Habeit Mishamayim Erei. In we say Avarachmem v'yinkoim le'eineinu nikmas dam avoda v'shofich. We never ask Rabbeinu Shalom change their beautiful our anti-Semites. They should be wonderful people and we should love them. No, they deserve revenge, not because we want revenge, not because. Because Chas v'Chalila, we don't understand one thing. An anti-Semite will remain an anti-Semite. You cannot change skin. We're mistaken by thinking they'll become loving. You remember the prophet will say, "Can hayahafach kushi oiroi," or can you take a wolf and make him a sheep? No. We're mistaken. It's not because we want revenge. It's not we want, but you have to take in consideration one thing. If they would have the possibility, they would take all the Jews and destroy them in one day with no mercy, with no Rahmanis. It's not a question. We're not going to play God's case, and we don't say, he said it, he just mentioned it, Rabbi Cook just said it now. We never ask God, let us take revenge. Never. This belongs purely to God, to Hashem. It's not we want to take revenge, but this is God, what he said, and this is what the prophet says, that God is going to come and take revenge. If we have a question, we don't understand, or we still have to understand a little more about it, but this is definitely God's job, not we. We're only asking God, it should be the right time already, that Jews shouldn't suffer. We have to remember one thing, and like Ariel Sharon told me once, every soldier who's dying, and we have it every single day, for him and his family, and I would say for all of us, it's a Holocaust. This family who lost a beautiful boy, with this girl who lost her prospect or whatever, this is Holocaust, no question about it. It's no such thing to say, oh, it's easy. No, because if I would, that means the whole world is finished for me. For me, is the world finished? In the sooner, the better, because those people have no mercy. If a father was 2 weeks ago, was it how many weeks? A father tried to help one of his workers or hijabers, and the son killed the father. Now, we're talking about animals that we cannot take in consideration as human, and this is a mistake of the world. They would think that give a kick in Bosnia and such places. No such thing as feelings. Now is not time that the innocent people should be a little relieved in these animals, this killers, or the murderers, not killers, the murderers. They should get there and be out of the picture. We cannot change that nature. We can't. It's not a matter we want revenge. No. And we need only Hashem's help, because there's no one who can do it. Right? Absolutely. It's not we want. No, Chas v'Shalom. We're the last one to think that way. Because if you would tell me to do that, I cannot catch a mouse with a fly. How can I do that, right? Just the opposite. I think we are a very sensitive nation because we went through so much. And yeah.
Shkoyach.